You're my hypnotic.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I didn't even add myself to the fucking thing like I'm supposed to before I do it. But who gives a shit? I'm here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, as always, I thank you for tuning in to watch my content. And supporting me as always. I mean, if you're here to support me. So not everybody that watches out of support, right? We got to remember those hate followers are a thing. But are those almost more motivating sometimes? Does anybody else who's a content creator sometimes, specifically, take into consideration the people who don't want to see you doing well, don't want to see you still alive, don't want to see you making content when you're looking for motivation? I don't know, because for me personally, um the fact that there are people who hate my existence and don't want me to be alive, they are reminded that I'm alive every time I do a live stream. I like that the word live is in live stream, I guess, for that reason, if somebody hates me that much, right? And yeah, so that's kind of a good reason, I guess, not to kill yourself. I mean, there's reasons to kill yourself, there's reasons to not kill yourself, reason you don't want to give your enemies or your haters satisfaction. Put that in the list, in the bucket of reasons to not kill yourself. And I guess maybe both those buckets could be pretty full, but let's just put one in the other bucket, okay, for today. Yeah, I'm here today, just kind of chilling to a degree. This is going to be open topic. I'm not really committed to that, because I could potentially get on a topic that I really like and just keep going with it for that. But I roughly have something in mind, and I'm gonna say hello to whoever I see in the chat, which so far is just Titan. Appreciate your presence, and obviously the presence of whoever else is here, both right now for the live and later for the fact, after the fact, if I do not delete this. Anyway, something that I was thinking about that somewhat, I guess, could motivate me to stream, or motivated me to stream today, is this conversation that I had with somebody. Well, it wasn't a conversation. We got in a little bit of a fight, a little bit of an argument. We squashed it now, and I'm not here to be passive aggressive or name the person. Neither of those are necessary. But I mean, I guess you don't name someone when you're being passive aggressive. But my point is that, like, me and this person have hashed things out, squashed it, we're cool. Basically, I said something unnecessary, and it went from there. So I was the person who owed the apology. Anyway, and I did apologize, obviously. But what I needed to apologize for was basically scoffing at, cringing at this person openly, as a result of them, at least the way I understood it, being discouraging or saying negative things, down talking philosophy. And this caused me to reflect, because I acknowledged something about myself. And I think I've already kind of known this, but like, my self reflection today helped me realize this. And that's that when somebody says something about philosophy, something to the effect of, it doesn't matter, it's not, it's useless, nobody needs it, who gives a fuck about it. Well, I intellectually know that they're not in any way, shape, or form saying something about me. I've acknowledged this. Emotionally, I still feel like they are. You get that? Has anybody ever had this happen? I mean, I would imagine my fellow philosophers have experienced this. You think or know one way, but you still feel another way. You just know how to separate what you think from what you feel. Some people don't know how to do that, and you can tell. You can really tell when somebody doesn't know how to do that, and they just think everything they feel is true. Um, but I had to ask myself why that is. Why do I feel personally insulted when people say negative things about philosophy? Basically, when people say that it's useless, and I think I've kind of put a finger on exactly why that is. It's because I feel like, well, there's a few reasons, and I'll get into them. One of them is I feel like I don't have a lot to offer, but um, what I bring to YouTube, which is philosophy, I feel like this is, and in conversations with people, just like I feel like it's what I have to offer is critical thinking and philosophy. I'm not um, educated in it formally, so I don't have the value of a professor or something like that. But I feel like there's value in me in knowledge that I have because knowledge has instrumental value and true beliefs have instrumental value, right? And knowing how to um, recognize false beliefs has instrumental value. And so I feel like I'm providing people with something of value um, by coming out here to YouTube and doing what I'm doing, and not just YouTube, but you know, basically. So when I realized this, that because of the fact that I feel like philosophy is all I have to offer, when somebody says philosophy is useless, is meaningless, I basically, to a degree, feel like the one thing that gives me meaning is meaningless to everybody else. And to some degree, it's not like there's no truth in that, but it's not true. You know what I mean? Um, because, well, no, philosophy isn't literally the only thing I have to offer, but it's a chunk of it. And for me personally, as somebody who, I'll just be blunt, and in a sense, am a nihilist, or at least a type of a nihilist. I don't believe that life has intrinsic meaning. I don't think that means that life is meaningless necessarily. I just think that a type of meaning, you know, the intrinsic type of meaning, I don't believe in it. So I feel like you have to give your life purpose. You don't just automatically have purpose. I mean, a lazy thinker would like to just have purpose already because then you don't have to give yourself purpose. But for me, I need to give myself purpose. And right now, I'm considering new jobs, a new job for March or April, probably somewhere around there, that time frame. Um, and I have to look for something because I don't just want to make money for a living. I want to feel like I'm doing something that adds value to the world. Because if I go to work and I get paid for it, okay, then I'm working to justify the means to my own survival, but I'm not giving myself purpose and I'm not giving myself meaning, right? And that's why my current job works for the attribution of meaning to something. I want to live in a world where people can get food off of a shelf, so I put food on a shelf. And I do it for a job, so I don't deserve, to be praised as though I'm doing charity work. But I prefer a job that contributes something to the world. I I do think the exploitation of labor led to by capitalism is a real thing, but I also think that a lot of people fail to recognize the value that work has. And I do believe that work has value. Work gives you purpose. But obviously the kind of purpose you get is going to vary from job to job, right? And if you're a janitor or a custodian and you're listening to this, you probably don't have a great wage, but what you're doing is a very necessary thing for society. So, according to the value I'm talking about, your job is highly paying in that respect. Now, obviously, I don't want to use that to say like that it's okay for somebody to not give you money because you're getting purpose from something. Like exploitation of labor is still wrong, right? Mm. I've given thought about HEB job. Should I lose that thought? I would say no, because if you decide that you're going to get a job at an HEB or any grocery store, if you decide that you're going to get a grocery store, you're contributing to there being grocery stores in society. Um, if you want to live in a world where there are grocery stores, right, you're contributing to the type of world you want to live in coming to be. Now, obviously, wage is something we have to take into account, but for me, wage isn't merely the thing I have to take into account. It's also, do I derive purpose from this? Because if I don't derive some non um, monetary purpose as well, then I'm going to feel meaningless, right? Unless I can find some other. I think there are various different areas of life to attribute meaning to or to derive meaning from. And love is one of them, right? Here's the thing though. I'm a pretty uh lonely individual, right? Um, I don't have a big social life. And in real life, I feel like everybody hates me and I'm not all and obviously I'm going to be wrong more than I'm right about that when I feel that way, but I guess I experience often these feelings of um basically everybody hates me and everybody can't wait for me to be gone. Like everybody's putting up with me, but everybody can't wait for me to leave. And I always feel that way. Um but on YouTube, if you're here on your own volition and you clicked to be here and like so I don't feel that way. Yeah. So I was reading the live chat a little bit, but yeah. Um, so anyway, talking about meaning. Um, so I would say you said I'm retired, but I find myself being bored. So a job would just be fuck you money. It would be fuck you money and the other type of value that I was talking about, right? Which I mean, you're retired, so you could obviously rest content with the value that you've derived from working whatever you've worked when you have. Yeah, but I think that's very important. I don't know. Um, so I'm thinking about that. Um, I have been well. Let me hit this. He estado hablando con una chica en Colombia porque conoce la hermana de ella en una trailer in Austin cuando pedía comida. Yeah, no, I went downtown a few weeks ago and I when I ordered I ordered I was drunk. I was bar hopping and I got the drunk munchies. Not that I didn't have the regular munchies too. But yeah, so I'm just drunk getting some tacos and I ordered my food in Spanish and I really impressed the people at the truck. Now this actually happens fairly regularly because I don't look like I speak Spanish in America, right? Like maybe other parts of the world, whatever, but like I'm over here. I don't look like I speak Spanish. But anyway, I'm ordering food and they're impressed with my Spanish. And this girl who works there at the trailer tells me, she was like, in Spanish, she said that her sister has actually been learning English for 3 months because we were talking about language learning in Spanish, right? And so since yeah, I was talking about language learning at this point. It was a month ago, so at that point I'd been learning for 6 months, been learning for like 7 months now. Um, I was like, okay, yeah. So we video call and say what's up, and she's on Instagram. So I yeah, we added each other on Instagram, and we've been talking every day since then. And this is actually the first time I've ever had a girl hit me up literally every single day. And so I'm like kind of excited about that. And we've been talking, and now like I'm actually gonna go out to Colombia uh and see her. So I'm gonna go like hiking and shit. So that's gonna be fucking dope. So there's something else that I've derived meaning from. I've been so there's human interaction, right? Learning another language motivates me. It's a thing I have to keep doing, right? Because I still don't speak fluently. And but here I'm able to meet more people, and I just think there are people that I know now that I would not be able to know had I not taken the initiative to begin learning Spanish, right? Like this girl that I've been talking to that I'm going to go see, I wouldn't be talking to her had I not learned Spanish. Um, and there are people that I know that actually for a few years they used to just be background characters in my life, basically, because we couldn't talk to each other. And then now we can. Times have changed. So that's another good thing too. So I will probably start doing language learning stuff on my channel pretty soon. That'll probably be pretty dope. I think it'll probably be pretty dope. I should do that. Obviously Spanish, right? Because my Swahili and Japanese are not anywhere near conversational even. But I am very glad I got to speak what Swahili I could speak to people from Rwanda here in Texas. Like that to me was awesome that I was able to do that. I was like, you weren't expecting to hear that shit. Oh man. Fucking big news lately is the whole Andrew Tate thing, huh? Man, there was a fucking you couldn't get the grin off my face, the smirk off my face, I should say, when I found out that motherfucker got arrested for what we all knew he was doing. Andrew Tate, before he moved to Romania, or when he moved to Romania, he literally said that he went there because of human trafficking laws being weaker. And he was basically like, well, I don't want to do it, but I just want to live somewhere where I know I could have more freedom. It's like, what the fuck? Imagine if somebody said they were going to a country because the age of consent was 10 there. You would, like, if they said they were going there for that reason, it's no fucking mystery why they're going there, right? They said they were going there for that reason. Anyway, so how this took so long is whatever. So there was a back and forth tweet, as this back and forth is being referred to, Pizza Tate. Now, this is just a great story that hilariously enough is like history, because both of them are prominent enough people that like this could be in a history book in 50 years. You got to think about that. Imagine history books in 50 years talking about Twitter conversations, showing tweets. We're going to be seeing tweets in history books in 50 years. That's when I'm going to feel old. And and we're not even that far from that happening. So many memes. Memes are going to be in history books. Yeah, that's weird to me. I don't know. So anyway, Andrew Tate, so out of character, makes a fucking cringe, childish tweet saying to Greta Thunberg, just like, here's the fucking emission of all of my cars. I have all these cars. This one's emission is this. This one's emission is this. This one's emission is this. Just bragging about fucking up the planet because that makes sense to do. I can never understand that. You also live on Earth, right? With the same environment. And choosing to emit as much greenhouse gases, which holds heat, it's going to be hotter. I'll never understand them on that. Anyway, he said all that, tagged her, and she says, sure, you could email me at my email address is smalldickenergy@getalife.com. Smalldickenergy@getalife.com. And people's reactions to this were like, she just said the most amazing thing. Like everybody, like, hey, I'm a fan of Greta too, okay? But everyone acted like she said something that was like, oh, and it was like, wow, okay, really? And I think, and this brings up a new topic for conversation, something interesting. Now, I'm not expressing moral outrage at Greta or again, I like Greta. Um here's what I'm noticing though. A lot of the people, I know a lot of people who act like claim to be against body shaming on a regular basis. And I've noticed that they tend to say things like small dick energy, make jokes that, or if somebody's a bad person or like a narcissist or they, whatever kind of bad person, you say that they probably have a small dick, which is body shaming. And this is the thing. You're also talking about people who aren't that person, right? So you're also talking about people who aren't Andrew Tate. And Greta, especially at her age, like I'm not expressing any moral condemnation toward her, but rather hypocrisy toward the people who claim to be anti-body shaming and are literally cheering for a case of body shaming because it's being done by someone that they like to someone they don't like. If you can't recognize that, then you just have, then this is a lot of people, zero ability to recognize the way in which cognitive bias alters your way of thinking. Because I could acknowledge, like, all of us have um cognitive biases. I'm sitting here talking and it's about it, and they still affect the way I think. But if I could recognize that, then I could like make some conscious effort to try to know that I'm being objective and not biased, right? I can make some kind of conscious effort to question whether something is a case of my bias coming into effect. And a good way for me to test this is if I see two cases of literally the same thing and I'm cheering for it in one case and condemning it in the other case, and what I'm cheering for and what I'm condemning are the same thing. Like at some point, I've got to have some ability to recognize that I'm being biased. And so many of you don't have that. And if you're a person listening to this who has said that you're against body shaming and cheered for what Greta said to him, that's you. And so many people, when I say this, act like I'm defending Andrew Tate. Fuck Andrew Tate. I've been saying he was a piece of shit before fucking yesterday when he got arrested. I was never close to being a fan of him. I'm just being objective about behavior. And if you're not somebody who's pretended to be anti-body shaming, then hey, you're not being hypocritical. And we could have a conversation about body shaming. That's a separate conversation, but you're not being hypocritical, so you at least don't get that charge. Fucking, I like this. Humans are hypocritical. Color me shocked. I know, and biased. Did you know that too? Not just hypocritical, but biased. I bet you didn't know that one. What's up, Christian? Um, yeah, so I don't know. This is something that I talked about with people, and I've just noticed that everybody has one of two responses, and that is to assume that I am defending Andrew Tate or assume that I must just be taking it personally because I must just have a small dick. And those are the only two possibilities. Pointing out hypocrisy amongst people claiming to be against body shaming but partaking in exactly that same thing is not an option. Okay, you get what you want. I'm comfortable with it. I'm able to identify objectively what's going on, and that is a lot of people being tribal and biased. And I don't know, it's kind of just fascinating, but also really more so frustrating to live in a world where you could recognize bias so much. I don't know, and so many people just seem to not be able to do that. Small dick energy is not body shaming. Absolutely, it is. What you're doing is definitely saying you're giving negative implications. What does small dick energy mean? It's a insult to say to somebody who's doing something bad. You would never say it in a good context, right? So let's say hypothetically speaking, me and Christian are arguing, or you and Christian are arguing. I don't know. You fucking let's just say you tell him that he has let's say, I'm sorry. Let's say hypothetically, Christian has a small dick and you tell me I have a small dick as an insult, right? Then you're insulting Christian at the same time when you're really, you know what I mean? Like, you're not just insulting me, you're insulting him too. And hypothetically, I'm not obviously not saying anything about your size, bro. But yeah, that's my point. Is if I'm standing here and someone else is standing here and this person has a small dick, right? And I'm being an asshole. So to call me an asshole, you say I have small dick energy, then you're calling that person an asshole by using that as your way to express that. And if you don't recognize, like, I don't know how better I could articulate that. The example I've provided, I think, should make the case. Yeah, no, that's funny because he knows it isn't. Sheesh. Cheers. Yeah. No, yeah. So this is just rocking with a 20-piece McDick and fries. Nice. Yeah, how we ended up here is fun and interesting. But yeah, basically, um, okay. No, you didn't refute what I said. That's not a refutation of what I said at all. What I said was you're saying that as a way of saying a bad thing about me and there's another person who's not me, who's not an asshole, who has a small dick, and you're saying that that's a bad thing and you're being negative and using that as an insult and basically implying that that's the reason I'm being an asshole. You have in no way, shape, or form refuted what I said. Sorry, but that's just you haven't. Um. So anyway, uh, yeah, and you know what? I will emphasize. I'm not expressing moral outrage at Greta, especially like she's 19. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't really feel morally outraged over it. So fuck. Like, I'm not. I'm just. If anything, and I also haven't seen her say anything negative about body shaming. So hey, you know, for me, body shaming is like if we're friends and we're roasting each other, like there's a conversation about whether it's okay or not, but it makes sense in that context. But to body shame in like real life though, I just don't get it, right? Like if you're an asshole and you're stupid and you're fat, like I'm going to talk about your intellect. That like cuz it's you as a person. I don't know. I For me, I don't get the body shaming as much. But let's go on with this Tate and Greta story because it gets better, way better. Andrew Tate makes a response video to her and he has pizza in the post. A place, I think it was called Jerry's Pizza. You could look that up. I might be wrong about the name, but yeah, this place called Jerry's Pizza, um, which is exclusive to Romania. And I guess Romanian authorities were trying to confirm whether or not Andrew Tate was in their country, and because he had posted, I would probably not only with the box, like probably is an IP address not a thing? That's where I'm confused. I'm confused about that part. Like, why would they need a picture of him? Anyway, apparently that notified them, or maybe that notified them and then they checked the IP address. I don't know. That's a detail I'm confused about. Because I would think they could just because they didn't locate him with that picture, right? Thank you, Christian. The energy aspect doesn't change it. If you told a woman she had small titty energy, that would still imply that itty bitty titties are lesser. Bravo. Couldn't have said it better. Like, thank you. Ugh, man. Anyway, yeah. So Andrew Tate gets basically arrested because of the fact that he decided to make a video, a petty, childish, immature, stupid ass video to Greta. That's what happened. He got arrested because he did that. The authorities confirmed he was there on the basis of that happening. That's amazing. And the fact of all people to get arrested, it was him, and of all people to have like had an interaction that led to it happening, for it to have been her, that is the biggest fuck you to the type of people that like Andrew Tate. That I just mean a fuck you from reality, just a fuck you from life, from the world. That is just a fuck you from life. And all these people that have been his fans that have been like, oh no, guys like him are what women are actually into. Look at the way women act around him. We now know that a lot of those women, we can very reasonably expect and justify saying they were being held there against their will. He was literally a human trafficker. So these women that you thought were so happy to be around this guy because this is the kind of guy people like, were literally forced to be with him. So you were wrong. You were just wrong. Yeah, sometimes life provides its own fuck yous that you don't have to even do to people. So, oh yeah, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, though. And I'm just not gonna ignore it because, oh man, I've actually been thinking about this a little bit lately. The conversation we aren't ready to have is that body shaming men is okay because society has largely accepted men aren't worth caring about mentally. Yeah, this is why height shaming is also perfectly socially acceptable. But hey, make a fucking fat joke, right? Anywho. So the story between Greta and Andrew Tate gets arrested, and yeah. I don't know. I guess that's the end of that. So yeah, I was talking about that story and how it prompted another conversation. I don't know. I'm looking at the chat a little bit. So yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm done with the story. So it was kind of an open topic so far today. So other people got other topics. Post an idea for a topic. I have a song off the top of my head that isn't one that I recently wrote, but it's been on my mind. It's fucking depressing though. I don't know. Should I rap depressingly or talk about stuff? I don't know. I'm bored. Okay, hold up. The Romanian official said the pizza box had nothing to do with it. It was the result of a long-term investigation with Interpol. Yeah, see, without looking it up, that sounds more plausible to me. And because of the fact that the Greta memes are a theme, and they're funny, and they're like a category of memes, people are probably not going to accept that. Yeah, see, right there. I just immediately was like, They needed a picture of a pizza box. In real time, the thing I called into question turned out to not be true. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why you should be a skeptic. That is why, like, I'm proud of myself right now. I did skepticism right. Let's see. Um, Interpol sounds like a fun Friday night. No, it sounds like a sounds like a public transit of some sort. Like a, I don't know, a train or a bus. Interpol. Yeah. Okay, so the pizza box didn't have anything to do with it. That is to be expected. I'm gonna actually get back to something I was talking about at the beginning of the stream. Because I talked about something that prompted some thoughts, and then that got on a train that got us here. But here's something that I wanted to talk about for people who dislike philosophy, right? So I understand philosophy is like tedious and boring, um, and complicated and like hard to do, right? But this is what I want people to think about. There's this quote that is quite popular because this is actually the basis of skepticism, uh, and really epistemology. And people falsely attribute this quote to someone who's alive today. But this quote actually predates the language we're speaking right now. I'm speaking right now. So, yeah, this is the premise of skepticism. And that is, I want to believe as many true things as possible and believe as few falsehoods as possible. Right? I want to have as many beliefs in truths as I can and as few beliefs in falsehoods as I can. And again, that is the premise of has been the premise of skepticism for thousands of years. That predates the English language, really, what I just said, that concept. Anyway, moving on though. If you're a person who wants to learn, know as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible, and then you say, I don't want to learn philosophy, I don't want to do philosophy, that is the equivalent to saying, I want to be rich, but I don't want to work. Or saying, like, I want to have a business. I want to have a successful business. Well, I don't want to like learn about sales and stuff though. Like, I like sales aren't my thing. Basically, what I've come to realize as somebody who's into epistemology and has to accept that most people aren't into what I'm into because that's part of life, right? I've realized this. Basically, everyone wants to believe in as many truths as possible until they realize what it takes to do so, what the means to that end is. Yeah, of course, having as many beliefs and truths and few beliefs and falsehoods as possible is ideal. Just like having a lot of money is ideal, or having a successful business is ideal. But if you're not going to take the initiative to get into sales and learn how a business runs, then you shouldn't be like saying or especially identifying with I want to have a successful sale. I want to be rich, right? Says, don't we all love to be rich without working? Sounds good. In a sense, yeah, but I would work, I would just be doing like volunteer work. But no, like I agree. Like, yeah, I get that. Um anyway, let's see. Fundamentalists are like trust fund babies. They have all these truth claims and strong views and didn't do the work to build or nurture their epistemology. Precisely. Precisely. And for me, I have to say, the fact that I didn't hear the word epistemology until after graduating high school, that's a problem. Epistemology is a thing we need to be teaching in schools and logic. We need to be teaching kids how to fucking think critically. And I've said that and had people tell me, like, oh, religious people won't like that. I'm like, fuck them. Sorry, religious people. Kind of. Not sorry to those of you who aren't against it, but you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Hey, I want to teach you how to not believe things that aren't true, how to figure out what's true and false. We don't want that. They're probably not wrong. Fuck me, man. This is terrible. So, anyway, the point is, I would really encourage people who don't want to get into critical thinking to think about that. But I do think, given the nature of my channel generally, if you're here, you're probably at least somewhat interested in learning how to think critically, because that is a common theme of this channel, right? Um, Essentially, how to think properly. Yeah, yeah, dude. As a teacher and debate coach, I'm getting seniors in high school that have never heard of formal logic. Yeah, out of pride, don't think I knew what the fuck formal logic was when I was a senior in high school. Didn't fucking know. So, yeah, that's a problem, and I don't fucking know how to do anything about it. How do you protest and start petitions and get everyone on board? How do you do that? Like seriously. Like seriously, what are the steps we need to start taking to do this? Because I'm interested in that. How do we as a society make epistemology more common, more known? And I try to even go through the work of reading shit and selecting high that's why part of why I'm highlighting Nietzsche is like, okay, how could I give people an opportunity to get a good chunk of what this book is without putting all the effort into reading the entire book? And then obviously picking highlights so I'm not reading the whole book in the recording. Um, but yeah, if you're interested in Nietzsche, go check that out. Although there's just no way around it. Reading Nietzsche, you get depressed. Like reading Nietzsche is depressing, but you can't stop. But you know what is weird? Of all the books from Nietzsche, the one that I thought I was gonna really like, just I guess judging by the title, was The Will to Power. And so far it's like my least it's the I'm listening to the audiobook, not reading it actually. But I got the audiobook and the fucking audiobook is like 24 hours long. And I'm like, I don't know, 13 and a half hours into it or something. And so much of what he talks about, I don't agree with at all. And it's weird to me. I'm just like, how somebody who says so many things that I think are so intelligent can also say so many things that I think are so stupid is something I can to this day I can just never get over that. Yeah, there's biases, but like I talked about earlier, at some point people should be able to know biases, right? For example, one cognitive bias is the halo effect. You're right, you're likely to treat someone, you're more likely to agree with something that somebody says if they're attractive because people bond over agreements and stuff, right? Or believe something they say, right? And since I know that, I further question a little bit more. Wait, am I just agreeing because I want to agree with this cute girl on something? Like, I like her and she's pretty, and you know, she said that passionately. Like, there's a motivation to agree with it. But do you believe it? If you could recognize that that bias causes you to be more likely to believe something, then you should think about it more critically. Would I believe this if I didn't have this influence? And then maybe you could say, well, is there evidence or good justification for it? And then you could say, okay, this justification, was arrived at for if you were me through a reliable process. I'm a process reliabilist. So you would say, and that objectively is what my, you know, the method of justification to which I subscribe. Therefore, as far as I understand something to be justified, this comports with what that is. So I can say that I'm not just agreeing with her because I'm being biased, because I know what the evidence is and I know what the justification is, and I know that this meets whatever that guilty conscience is, or I'm sorry, yeah, what that is. And so Yeah. So again, I'm guilty, bro. We all are. But if we could recognize it, see, that's the thing. You recognize it. That part, most people don't know. That first part that you were talking about, it happening, everyone goes through that. That part where you realize it, not everyone goes through that. Think about that. Not everybody goes through the part where they realize that they're biased. And I just cannot imagine not knowing that about myself. Anyway, it's been fun ranting and bitching all in one. I'm thinking, should I do a Discord thing? I'm getting pretty tired, so I'm gonna probably eat and go to bed soon. I'll post my link to the Discord, and I'll go in Discord for a little bit. You guys know I work nights, so this is my morning. Wait, that can't be the link. It just says, okay, hold up, my bad. I don't know why on Discord it's like easier, or it's like harder to find the proper link. All right. Somebody told me once that the link didn't work. I saw in a comment. So I'm going to check that this link works. All right. If somebody in the chat could check the link that I just posted in the chat, make sure that that goes to my Discord. And then that link works. Because if it doesn't, I'll have to, I don't know, find the invite button or invite people. So okay, it's a different link. So all right, you know what? If the first link doesn't work, the second link will work. Okay, there you go. So you guys got that link. So yeah, those of you who are tuned in for the live, you can catch me and we can talk for a little bit after the show. So yeah. As always, thank you for tuning in to my channel to watch my content. I wish nothing but health and happiness to you and everyone that you love. Be safe.